What up, y'all? Vita Van Pelt here with Soy Sauce. This is TTE Talk, Sports Talks. You the family. We are here continuing down the divisional talks and breakdowns. I'm gonna say the date because it worked out perfectly for two reasons for us. Today is the 18th of June. We are releasing this when we are recording this. So you might get it a week from now. So two things happen. Usually we start with the AFC, we started with the NFC because we wanted to make sure that Aaron Rodgers was officially a Steeler. Jair Alexander today signed with the Ravens. And we also want to say the date because World War III is about to happen. We going down, y'all.
Man, it's getting close. It's
Yo,
getting
y'all might not
close.
see this video. We going down. You know what I'm saying?
By the time this release, we're gonna be
Yeah.
drafted.
So this is just a timestamp of survival, hopefully. You know what I'm saying? So if you're watching the AFC North, hey, everything's good. At least we made it another couple days. You know what I'm saying?
We made it a
So
few more
yeah.
days if you're watching this.
Yeah. So before we get started to the AFC North, is there anything back from the NFC North? If you're watching this, the NFC North is already out. We got the full video and each link down there for each video individually. All right. Ready to get into it to the AFC North, man. We're going up
Yes,
to
sir.
Doug's Row, Death Row in the AFC North. Um, Truly one of the most traditional, legendary divisions in the NFL, man. So much going on within this division. I feel like it is just funny. It's just funny. So let's give a recap. Last year, Baltimore Ravens 12-5, Pittsburgh Steelers 10-7, getting over 900, over 500 like always. Cincinnati Bengals 9-8, and the Cleveland Browns 3-14. When you look back on last year's AFC North, is there anything that you were right or wrong about on any team?
I think we were right about Baltimore. I think we missed on Cincinnati. Not a big miss either. Um,
Yeah, Cincinnati second.
yeah, not a big miss either. And I think a lot of that
Yeah.
had to do with health, right? Missing T Higgins a good portion of the year. Joey B was fighting some. I mean, he's been fighting his whole damn career since
And
he's
a
been there.
bad early start, like they always do. These fools
Yeah,
was 1-3 when they came to Carolina. I think 1-3, 1-4 when they came to Carolina.
yeah,
So
man.
yeah,
But
the slow starts need to stop.
I think overall we were right. The Ravens probably dropped a win or two that we probably had them taking, but I think they made it up elsewhere. I think we had them around 12, 13 wins as a ceiling. Um, Overall though, man, I think we were pretty spot on. I think the Browns
Yeah,
performed kind of how we expected them to. Y'all can go back and watch the videos from last year. It's dated to see the preseason predictions
I don't.
for them, but I think we was pretty on point
Yeah,
with this.
yeah. I don't think none of us. I don't know. I don't feel like we had the Browns too high up, but
Nah,
I don't think we had them 3 wins either. You know,
nah.
like yeah. Trying to remember, but Doug's Road, Death Row over here, man, in the AFC North. Yeah, I think the thing that's kind of be like the consistent of the AFC North is Lamar and Harbaugh are going to win 11, 12 plus, and Tomlin is not going to go under 500. And then it's just Cincinnati, like this year, very slow start, but they've been slow starts under Taylor, and that's what kept them out of the playoffs this year. And then the Browns, we kind of saw like once the injury started to happen, we were like they just can't make up for it. Even though I feel like their roster is overall pretty good. Jerry Judy and them hooped. You know what I'm saying? We've been
Yeah.
trying to push the Jerry Judy agenda, so I feel like they hooped. So that was in itself kind of like the overview of it. I do like the direction of Cleveland. I know we're going to talk about them first, but I think the wild card in all this is Cincinnati because we Cincinnati got held to such high esteem. Because remember them AFC Championship trips and all that. Them fools, I think they only won 10 games one time. Like trying
Mhm.
to think back real quick, and they were wild card teams. And that defense, like the way that defense performed in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl was elite level defensive play.
They played great.
And like, yeah, and Joey B and them showed up in the critical moments, but that defense during those playoff runs in the back year was like they was killing it. And now we'll talk about it, but we're not getting there. So like they're the wild card in it because the Ravens and Steelers have still overall like during the regular season been the consistent better teams, but it's just like don't let the Bengals in. don't let the Bengals in, and more than anything, now they're just starting to hold themselves back. So
Crazy enough to say,
yeah,
man, I think if the Bengals got in there, they'd have probably been the ones to beat either the Bills or KC early on.
no. So they'll always give KC problems because personnel and what they do
Hmm.
challenges them. But defensively, I mean Trey and the boys up front and Logan always gonna do their thing. But Cincinnati and whatever Zach Taylor does, always they just seem to be like if I was like, hey, there's a team Buffalo should never want to play in a big moment, it's Cincinnati.
Hmm.
And it just feels like Cincinnati just has they're just a bad matchup for the top tier teams.
Yeah,
You know,
since
like if
Cincinnati
they
for the
win,
AFC
yeah,
probably would have been what the Rams were in the NFC, right? Going into
yeah,
the nobody expected the Rams to have the kind of year they had with all the injuries, with Aaron Donald
yeah, and the
leaving,
slow
with
start early for them too.
yeah, and then for them to blow
And
up towards the end of the season, and then they were pretty much a game away from the Super Bowl because I think they would have beat
yeah,
Washington if they won against Philly.
yeah, that said, they're Cincinnati is they're a bad matchup. Like they really do figure it out down the line and become a bad matchup. Like you just like I don't want to play them, dude. So all right, let's get into it with the Cleveland Browns 3-14 head coach Kevin Stefanski. Literally blanking on the GM's name right now. I think they both just signed like an extension last year for like another 6-year deal. So the highlight of this right there, go ahead and scroll down, Luis. Let's go ahead and get this in and out the way. Never in our life have we seen a fifth round pick get more publicity than the number one overall pick in the NFL draft. And we tried to avoid some of this stuff because we've already planted our flag on who and how we view Sanders and kind of his whole situation. So I will re-clear that up now before we get into breaking down the team. Shadur Sanders this year was QB1 to me going into the draft. It was not no, he's clearly the best. Him and Cam Ward was 1 and 2. If you had Cam 1, was not no fault, but Shadur was no lower than 2. I think he probably one of the better passers, not, athletic or none of that, like past guys we've seen. But I do think the brother has the game from the neck up, and I do think he throws a really good football. For him to fall to the fifth, and then even tougher was like being picked after Dylan, which isn't a bad thing. But the thing that I feel like is going to happen with them is when roster cuts happen, unless they really do believe in like Flacco or Kenny moving them into like we can win now with those guys and keep one of these two. Shadur or Dylan is gonna have to get cut for roster purposes, and I think whichever one of them do will go to another team. They're not making it
Oh
back to the
yeah,
practice squad. So
yeah.
that's the issue that I think is going on with Cleveland is if Gabriel or Shadur, whichever one they end up, if they have to, letting one go, they're going to another team. They're not making it back to their practice squad
I
unless they
I
really
think
be
I
like,
think
you know
if
what,
Gabriel
Kenny,
gets cut, he might end up in Miami.
I'm saying like both of them are dudes who you be like, yeah, they'll still make another team. Like they're not good. I don't see either one of them. Not just Shadur. I don't see Dylan clearing waivers either and being like, yeah, I can make it back to the Browns practice squad. I don't think either one of them is gonna do it.
Yeah, somebody gonna pick him up quick, especially if it's Shadur. If Shadur doesn't make it out of this, out of the preseason and ends up getting cut for whatever reason, you're gonna see him end up on the roster, on a roster somewhere. And I mean, we can sit here and speculate where it's gonna be. It might be Dallas, it might be Detroit, it might be Pittsburgh. Who knows?
Yeah.
But like you said, man, they'll definitely end up on the roster ASAP.
Yeah. So I just think that's the big that's the tough decision for them. Is I don't think they can keep all four quarterbacks like after the first round of cuts. I think they will have to cut one down. And I just don't think either one of them is gonna make it back. So like I would prefer Shadur to stay in Cleveland only because like I think he does fit well with what Stefanski kind of likes to do. So I do like that, but again, it's just tough for me to see either one of them kind of, making it back after that first round of cuts or whenever one of them does have to be made a decision on.
Yeah, I think
Because
I
again,
think
I don't.
I think Flacco gets cut, and then we'll end up seeing one of the rookies staying in that QB3 spot. Kenny Pickett, you traded for him. You sent away
Yeah,
draft capital. You're gonna keep him to see what you got. He's pretty much QB1 at this point.
and I believe that too. I believe Kenny Stan. I think they keep Joe for comfort, just in case.
Yeah.
which might not be a good thing because if Kenny starts to trip, that fan base is gonna be Joe, 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 Joe. They gonna be bring Joe, bring Joe. So
I
I'm
think at some point too, the Browns got to sit back and say, all right, man, what are we doing? Where are we? Are we in a spot to be able to win now? Looking at the Ravens, looking at the Steelers, looking at the Bengals, and say, can we get into the playoffs somewhere? This division, we every year we go down the breakdowns, they split. They pretty much split across the board this year. I don't think anyone swept. Probably have to go back and look at that, but I don't see a world where the Browns can confidently step back and say we're gonna compete for a playoff spot right here. So they're gonna have to make a decision, man. Like if
and they
that's
do
if
have.
that's the spot you're in, why are you keeping Joe Flacco?
Remember, they got Jacksonville's first next year,
Yeah, Jacksonville ain't
so
looking good either. We're gonna get there
and
eventually, but
they're in the position to, if things go bad, get a quarterback market next year. So they have that ability. Um, I I'm with you. I don't think they're going in it looking to like, hey, we're just aiming towards a rebuild. I think they are trying to aim to win and compete. Like I
mm-hmm.
do believe that. But again, I think having those picks in their back pocket, makes it very flexible to be like, hey, you know what? Let's see what we got. Let's go forward. So, uh, any let's talk Kevin Stefanski. Let's talk Kevin. Kevin, Coach of the Year. Kevin's doing good things. I feel like the general messes with, and that is Kevin Stefanski got an extension. So it seems like the people of Cleveland and ownership like him and what he does. Where are we at on Kevin, man?
Kevin Stefanski. I don't know, man.
Kevin,
I think I think
Kevin.
Kevin's expendable. He's one of those expendable coaches, to be honest with you. He's holding a spot right now. He's gonna be there for the time being. But I think once Cleveland's able to see somebody somewhere pop up, they're gonna hop on it and be like, you know what, Kevin, we're gonna start to shift somewhere else. I don't think he's the guy that you hire to launch anything with a new team, right? To rebuild or to give you some sort of hope into something different. I don't think he's that guy. He's a great coordinator,
I
head coach
I'm
now.
starting to I'm starting to lean that way a little bit more. But I'm trying to also be mindful that, I think we were all not expecting Watson to come and show up the way that he did. And I think the brother's just been really trying to figure that out ever since. So that's why like I do hope if this year does go quote unquote bad, and they find themselves in that position that they give him the opportunity to, invest into another quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I know people can critique, even myself, for them taking Dylan and Shadur. But after that, man, being able to pick up Judkins and Mason Graham, you know what I'm saying? I felt like the draft was really, really good.
Their draft went
So
great.
I'm not mad about that. I feel like, the way the team is set up, we'll come back, not to fast forward and overlook their season like this isn't important, but we'll come back and be like, hey, Cleveland, they kind of got it good, ready to go. So he did like on defense, you see Miles, Collins, Graham, Schwartzinger, guy who I'm not gonna say I was super high on coming out of college, but I liked him. I said, okay, I can see where they're going with that. Ward, Pitt, Emerson, Newsom, dudes who I liked in the secondary, dudes who I thought were good. So just kind of, I think again, I don't want to say compared to that. I think the roster and the team is overall like a good team. Like it shouldn't just be like, no, this team is strapped and just bad. I just do think the concerns of like quarterback play, that division, and just hopefully not catching themselves behind the 8 ball early doesn't kind of fast forward. Well, maybe it would help to fast forward. Like what, the heck with it? We got a pick. We'll keep the team set up and try to then insert young quarterback. But again, I'm also on the back line. Like, man, I hope one of even if it's not Shadur, I still like Dylan too. Like, I hope one of these dudes work out. So,
Yeah,
I'm not against Dylan.
I like Dylan. I mean, his biggest knock is always going to be his size. He's like
Yeah.
what 5'10", 5'10", 5'11", 5'10".
Dylan gonna be this generation's Chase Daniel.
Damn, I don't like Chase Daniels.
Yeah, but Chase was able to play a long time, make a lot of money, and play a couple games and skip and stayed around. So I got Dylan being this generation's Chase. Chase hooped at Mizzou. Chase hoop. So he did that. Uh Key players. Um to me, players on player watch or key players. Man, I feel like the world has kind of gone quiet on Denzel Ward.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And I just want to take the opportunity to say Denzel Ward, I still see you play it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Denzel
that's
Ward's still
all.
nice. I don't know why he
Yeah,
get overlooked like
yeah.
that.
Obviously the biggest highlight, Mason Graham. I feel like a lot of people got player fatigue with him. During the draft process. You know, some people didn't quote unquote didn't like his size. You just see what he does and you know he hoops, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I like sometimes I know we be looking for these prototype sides and whatever. Mason Graham hoops, man. Like that brother absolutely hoops. So yeah, I'm on the Mason Graham should be beside Garrett. You know, I don't want man the D tackles interior is a lot of great ones, so I don't want to say all pro, but I think it'd be much quicker. We'll be like, yo, Mason is one of those ones, especially being able to line up with Garrett around him. So that should help out a lot. And Quinshawn Judkins, I think should be in a position to really do damage this year for Cleveland. So those are the three guys. Like I say again, just acknowledging Denzel and the two rookies, Graham and Judkins. Love them both, and I think both of them are going to hoop this year immediately.
Um,
Oh yeah, Harold Fannin Jr., who is actually going to be the next David Njoku. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, oh yeah.
uh, man, I agree with the Quinshawn Judkins. I think he jumps out pretty quickly to be probably one of their workhorses. Jerome Ford, he is what he is. He's kind of more of a what do you call it?
Dylan Sampson's going to steal some third down reps for sure.
I mean, with Jerome Ford's injury history, I kind of look at him in the same vein that I look at Nick Chubb. He's a good for now, but by halfway through the season, you'll probably see Quinshawn Judkins and Dylan Sampson be 1 and 2. Jerry Judy's another guy I'm looking at. He hooped last year. I think he comes out and makes a statement this year. He had a hell of a year last year with 2 or 3 different quarterbacks.
He killed it.
He did his thing. And then the other one,
I was barely holding on to my stock. I ain't have as much as I once did, but I was holding on.
I agree with Mason Graham. Mason Graham's probably my third guy. Like you said, man, he's not gonna give you the prototypical size speed. But when you look at production and you look at the just watch the tape. You know what I mean? It's what we always talk about in the preseason before they go into the draft. Don't make it hard, man. Like watch the film. Don't get hypnotized by the combine stuff, the measures. Like don't get hypnotized by that. Go back, watch the film, make a decision based off of that.
Yep.
And I think when they made that trade, they got BPA and he fell in their lap the way he did, and for them to still be able to go back and make a move, man, they had a hell of a draft.
Yeah.
But
again, I like I'm not looking at the Browns roster and be like, dang man, y'all kind of got nothing. Like y'all got players, and I feel like y'all got a solid team. You know, again, it's solid team. It's just how the whole quarterback question of what's gonna happen and how they're gonna produce and what is that gonna do to them. So
yeah, I look at this team and I say the difference between them.
I will say this shit.
The difference between them and a good team like the Steelers is coaching. That's why I'm always going to come back to Stefanski. If you put Stefanski on the Steelers and you put Mike Tomlin on the Browns, I think he figures out a way to go 500. He just figures it out. I don't know how he does it, but it just comes down to coaching. You got the personnel. Now, do you have the coaching to match that personnel to put him in a position to win? I don't think the Browns do.
All right, let's move on and get us a floor and a ceiling for the Cleveland Browns. Opening up week 1 versus the Bengals. Probably the best. Yeah, we should, you know what I'm saying? They probably hyped up. But I'm not gonna give him that one. I'm not gonna give him that one. I'm giving that to, even though it is a
Me
home
neither.
game. I'm actually gonna give the Bengals the broom on them this year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Baltimore
Thank you.
the broom on them this year.
Yeah. I think they only split with Pittsburgh.
Cool, I'll take that. So right now they're 1-5 in the division.
Yeah, and it's
They
Pittsburgh.
start 0-2 versus Green Bay at home. All right, so up to the bye week, how many wins do they got? Up to the
Two.
bye week, so how many wins do they
Two.
got? 2.
Yeah.
Is there a possible?
No. I mean, if we want to be optimistic, right, we can give them 3. They'll find wherever that third one is.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go 3 up to the bye week. Right now, I'm looking at 3.
It might be Minnesota. That's on the neutral ground. It's gonna be overseas.
Yeah, I don't want to say like this defense can steal a game or two. So you know what I'm saying? I think they are set up to do that. Yeah. So up to the bye week, let's say 3. Let's say
3
up
and
to the bye
5.
week. Yeah. Let's say let's go 3 and 5. I'll give them. Oh, they're at the Jets after the bye week though. Out of the bye week,
The Jets. That's Justin Fields.
yeah, Fields,
And they might be looking to trade Brees Hall.
I think that's gonna set the tempo for everything to me. Is if I would take them over the Jets after a bye week though.
I mean, there's coaches and there's teams that we give the benefit of the doubt coming out of the bye week. The Browns are not that team that we give the benefit of the doubt coming out of the bye week.
Especially travel. But I really like even though I like the Jets O-line, I like the Browns D-line matchup.
I think Justin Fields is going to be different in that game.
I'm going to put it on a possible, but I'm still leaning the Jets. So after that, they're 3, possibly 4, 5, 6. I got a 7 ceiling, bro.
I'm cool with a 7 ceiling.
Closer to 5. I sound so bad.
I mean, not really. 7 and 10 ceiling. Oh, I mean, when you say it's a ceiling, yeah. But I mean,
if they finish 7 and 10, I'll be like, cool, that's like good stuff. But then you trying to think about like, you know, the picks and the rebuild.
Yeah.
Again, that's why I don't like throwing away a season when I feel like you do have a good team, and I'm just trying to question where quarterback play and coaching can get you.
And then
I feel like
giving the quarter, like you said,
yeah, I feel like questioning
situation.
that. Yeah, I feel like questioning that and saying 7 is like, I feel like that should be a compliment. Be like, yo, the most important
part, that's a win.
I'm having issues with, but I still think you could get 7. Is this a 500 win team?
No.
So you know what? I'm cool with a 4 floor, 3 floor. Because if they went 3, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go 3 floor, 7 ceiling.
Give them the number 1 pick next year.
All right. Arch Manning. Nah, this he looks like a Garrett Nussmeier guy. Looks like a Kevin Stefanski. Looks like a Garrett Nussmeier guy.
That's a Kevin Stefanski. If they win 3 games, Stefanski's not gonna make it into that pick.
Yeah.
And I think they find a way to get off of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. But that's why I said, I mean, they got the extension, but again, they ain't got to keep him. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go 3 floor, 7 ceiling. I don't.
Hey, especially if they find a way to nullify that guaranteed money because of the circumstances of him tearing his Achilles for the second time.
No.
Like he was doing something non-sports related. He was out partying.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they can find a way to nullify that guaranteed money, he's up out of there.
Yeah. It had to be the Browns, man. I feel bad for him because everybody who could have got Deshaun was all in on Deshaun on trying to get him. And none of us expected that brother to come back and to go through all this and to be that bad. You know what I'm saying? So
man,
that hurts. It had to be the Browns. It had to be the Browns.
I think any other team Deshaun Watson goes to, I think he performs All it is, Masu stuff is behind him. Any other team?
Man, I told you he only went to he had that no trades clause. I told you he only went to Cleveland because they gave him the fully guaranteed.
$650.
Yeah. So that's it for the Cleveland Browns. That's all. Thank y'all for watching, being with us. Again, the date of this is June 18th, and we're hoping that World War III hasn't started and nothing else has drastically changed, and all is well. Thank y'all for rocking with us. The next time you see us, we will be in Soy's Hood, talking about the NFC East Super Bowl champs with the Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, and Giants. We'll be heading that way the next time you see us. Keep tabs with us. We are, again, if there's a part of the year we don't miss, it's this. So thank y'all for rocking with us, and we are out. Vita, soy sauce, we gone.